disappearances and tortures and so on. It should also be pointed out that the military people who are now facing internal military trials, although details of what they're being charged with has not been released, Amnesty testified to the Senate that the report from the Military Honor Commission indicates that it seems that the thing these soldiers are being charged with for November 12th is for being too lenient, for allowing the demonstration to take place in the first place. And the sackings of the intelligence people that have happened since the massacre have been publicly announced as being in punishment for them allowing the demonstration to take place. And let me just quote briefly from an interview from the current commander, General Sayafi, given to Compass, the Indonesian publication, on March 17. The interviewer asks, "So what attitude will the armed forces take?" And the general says, "I'll say to my troops, win over the people. The people are obliged to follow. If not," and this is what the soldiers are to say to the people, "please flee to the bush. If they go to the bush, they then become GPK, the security disruptor gangs, and the policy on GPK is that you can shoot them on sight." He said, "I'm only restoring ABRI armed forces. I'm only restoring ABRI standards. Demonstrations don't exist according to Indonesian law, and neither, I might add, do those people who engage in them."
Mr. Nairn, is that
to ask?
Sorry, I'm sorry. Did you want to say something, Mr. Dinger?
I had one short question for Mr. Nairn. I'm wondering if that's the same article in Compass in which General Shafe gave his plans for the Indonesian military's role in East Timor in the future, in which he stated that it's his every intention to, one, reduce the number of troops there, and two, speed up the transformation of them from combat troops to civic action troops. Is that the same article?
Let's see.
Or did you fail to read that part?
I don't know if that is the same article. It is the article in which he says the crux of the matter is that in many cases we have not been decisive enough. And he has said that they want to reduce the number of troops. That's quite true. And as General Sutrisno has explained, they hope to reduce the number of troops after they have, in his word, annihilated all those who oppose the rule of Indonesia. Sayafi also said that it was his policy to hunt down all those who oppose Indonesia. Clearly, they would like to reduce the number of troops, but they feel they can't because the opposition among the Timorese is so persistent.
Okay. The final comment.
A quick comment. I'm oscillating between wondering if your comments, Mr. Dinger, are absolute ignorance or outright lies, and I think I won't insult you by saying they're ignorance. I just want to make two quick points. You said that one of the reasons you found the preliminary study of the Indonesians credible was that they increased the number of people. They found that more people had died in the massacre, going from 19 to 50. I will point out that when Jelani came back, the head of the investigation to Indonesia, he said he agreed with the Army estimate of 19. At that point, there was international outcry, said, this is going to be a whitewash. A week later, not having learned anything new, already having come back from East Timor the week before when he said 19, he upped it to 50, at which point the State Department said it's a credible report. Now, I want to make two quick points, and that is, we have gone around speaking around the country, and at every place we speak, the Indonesian ambassador or representative is invited. I'll use the example of Brown, where we spoke recently. In every case, the Indonesian embassy refers us either to you, Mr. Dinger, to speak, or gives us the testimony of the State Department. They feel that you represent them accurately enough that they don't have to speak. And I want to finally ask, what would it take to cut off aid? We all agree a third of the population has been killed, about 200,000 people. We all agree that more than 100 people with U.S. weapons were killed on November 12th. What would it take for the State Department to say we should cut off aid?
Do you wish to have a final comment, Mr. Dinger, to that?
First of all, I'll try to remain civil. I don't represent the Indonesian government. I represent the United States government. I represent the United States government, and I'm proud to do that. I think we have a very reasoned policy on this issue, and I'm happy to discuss it with you, but I would like it to remain a civil discussion. What does it take to cut off aid? As I understand it, American law says that if a nation is classified as a gross violator of human rights, then aid should be restricted to basic human needs deliverance. The State Department, including the Human Rights Bureau of the State Department, which looks at the broad range of human rights around the world, does not consider that Indonesia qualifies for that classification. It has never considered that, and it doesn't today. There are serious human rights problems in Indonesia. There's no doubt about that. But there are also some positive signs in Indonesia, and the response to the November 12th tragedy is one of them. The Indonesian government accepted that it was a tragedy. It accepted responsibility for it. It's going about punishing the people who took part in that tragedy. The punishment will not be because they were too lenient. It will be because they participated in a massacre.
Thank you. I am instructed by authority much too high to question that there is at least one occupation which must immediately end, and that is our occupation of the ARCO Forum. We've apparently exceeded the time available to us, and I'm afraid I have to first thank very much our panelists. I knew something about East Timor, not negligible, but I have learned a lot from this evening's discussion. I think it an extremely good one. I thank the students who put this together for performing a really very useful and important service of ventilating a vital issue. I thank you for coming, and I should remind anyone who wishes to continue to discuss this issue that informal discussion will continue in room 150 to the rear. Good night.